Hi guys, good morning and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy and you can find me on the internet as Mandy Von Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. I am a 40-year-old woman who lives here in southeastern Michigan. I'm here with my husband and my 2 kiddos and 2 cats, and I love to knit and crochet and machine knit and craft and fiber arts in general. I love yarn and I love talking about yarn and I love knitting patterns and talking about different sweater construction and all of the things that are encompassed in kind of the fiber arts world. So if that sounds like something that could be interesting to you, please stick around. I would love to have you. If you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome. We have a bit to talk about today. So it is nearly the end of August, so we're getting into like the fall weather here in southeastern Michigan. And let me know down below what your weather is like wherever you're from. But here we're getting into fall, kind of, start thinking about pumpkin spice and Halloween and all of the apples, just all of the stuff that fall encompasses. And that means that there are 2 knitting events that I am a big fan of that are going to be starting up. And I am going to talk about those in just a little bit. First off, before we get to any of the knitting or crochet or crafting stuff in general, I am going to go through some admin. So on this podcast, we give away a digital prize pattern every podcast. And the way that you enter is you just leave a comment down below and come back next week. And the only 2 rules are that your prize has to be 15 USD or under. And the other rule is that you can only win once a month. So with all of that said, I am going to leave a blank spot right here. And if that was you, please reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits. Let me know what pattern price that you want. Let me know your Ravelry username if you use Ravelry. Let me know if you don't use Ravelry, and then we can figure out an alternate platform. Okay, with that out of the way, let's move on. So what do I want to show you guys first? So this week has been rough, and I'll get to that a little bit more in life stuff because we're here to talk about crafting. But you will notice that, things are falling. You will notice that I did not do a lot of hand knitting this week, and that I just wanted to explain kind of why. So the first thing I am going to show you are some machine knit hats that I've made. And I am just making these to go through some yarns, acrylic yarn stash that I have. And this is Premier Colorfusion DK. I believe that's what it's called. And I will put the information for the yarn up above. Now, this is a double knit machine knit hat, and this is what it looks like on the other side. And it's just a beanie. I mean, there's nothing really special to it. I make them because, well, first of all, I have 2 kids and they go through hats, and my daughter is the type of kid who loves to have like the matching hat with her outfit, and that's okay. So she has plenty of options. Here's another one, and I like this one. This was a yarn skein that was very rainbow-like. And this is the smaller hat. I only show you one of each type of hat I've made. Generally, when I'm showing you a color, I've probably knit up at least 2, probably 3 of them. So you can imagine how the rest of the skein looks if I tell you it was rainbow, because it was. This is like a very small hat. I think it's very cute and very kid-sized and very soft and stretchy. I like this one. Okay, here's another Premier Colorfusions. And this is a very, this color reminds me of like the oceans with mist. That's kind of what I'm seeing from this one. What do you guys think? It's interesting how these skeins pooled. Ooh, I really like this side. See, look, oceans, and then we've got some fog right here, and then the sky. It's very interesting how that worked out. Okay, now this last one, I'll put up the name of this yarn, and so you guys will know what it's called. I do not know what it's called. I know what the colorway name is, though. Now, I got this yarn from Hirschner's, like the color fusion, or is it color infusion? You guys already know because I put it up there. But I picked up this yarn at the same time, and I got this because it was called Christmas Tree. Can you guys see why? I really like this hat. And you know, the funny thing is, I showed this to my daughter because I like showing her things that I'm making. And she looks at me and she goes, oh, it looks like a Christmas tree. So this is an example of a colorway that is very true to its name. So I really like this one. I might keep this one. The yarn is soft and it's very thick and it's good size too. I mean, I'm liking it. Now, all of these machine knit hats were knit with an Addie King Express. And I use a drill adapter, which my 14-year-old son says is cheating. And I tell him that he's welcome to help me. If he wants, he can do it by hand. So he ended that conversation fairly quickly. Okay, those were my machine knit hats this week. I am having fun making them. I have 4 Sterilite containers full of them, so we're going to be donating them soon. Now let's see. So last night I told you guys that this has been a rough week. Just pain wise, if you're new here and you don't know, I am sorry, I put my crochet hook. I tossed my crochet hook in the bag and it made a loud noise. So I am completely paralyzed. I say incompletely because I can still move my legs if I concentrate very hard. My doctor says completely because he's a realist and I'm not, so take it as you will. Anyways, this week was a rough week pain-wise. All that to say, that's what I meant to say. So, last night, I'm sitting here going, okay, I know what I should be doing. What do I want to do? Because oftentimes, in Mandy's world, there are things I need to do and things I want to do. And I try to meet in the middle most of the time, but because this week has been really rough, I decided to do what I wanted to do. So I grabbed out some acrylic yarn because, like I said, I'm going through my acrylic yarn stash. I'm working up and getting rid of skeins that I can repurpose for things like baby blankets, things like hats for children, just stuff that you can that's easy to wash, easy to use. It's no use to anyone if it's sitting in a bin, just in a skein. So I figured that this is a good way to kind of let it get used, let it fulfill its purpose. It's already purchased, it's already bought. Let's get it doing something. So I found 3 of these skeins, and I don't know if I've ever used, well, maybe I have. Let's talk about it. So I found 3 skeins of Hometown Lion brand. Now this is 4 ounces, 113 grams. So it's 64 yards or 59 meters. It's a super bulky, 100% acrylic. So I had 3 skeins of this, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, there's no way this is going through my hat machine. It's super bulky. The Addy King works up with everything from like a 2 weight to like a 4. It starts getting kind of iffy when you get to the thicker 4s, like more of like an Aran, but 2 to 4, that's a good range. So I had this 6, super bulky, and I'm like, okay, what do I want to do with it? So if you've watched previous episodes, you know that there's a baby blanket that I really like, and it's a star crochet blanket. So I'm like, okay, I can make one of these. Now, Mandy hasn't been feeling the best this week, and if you look at this is 64 yards, and I had 3 skeins. So I'm sitting here crocheting a star blanket, and I'm putting up the pattern information, or I already have, and I found a new pattern from the Lion Brand website, and I've never used this one before. The one that I normally use, I just wanted to do something different. Nothing that really took a lot of concentration, but I just, pick a different pattern. So I picked the Lion Brand one, and I started to crochet it, and I realized in about 30 minutes, once I got through the first skein, that I was going to have a problem. This was probably not going to make a very extensive baby blanket. So I pivoted, I repurposed. I'm like, okay, I have 2 cats. My 2 cats love to lay on beds, like our beds, but they're very funny about it. And let me know down below if you guys have animals that will lay on your beds as well. And some people don't like that, and that's cool too. But for us, we have our cats are always laying on beds, and more specifically our bed. And we have like these tiny baby blankets that our kids used when they were little, and we'll fold them into like little rectangles or squares, and the cats will lay on them. So I'm like, okay, I am going to take this yarn and make a cat bed. So that's what I did. And this is what I ended up with. That was a very long description just to show you guys this. Now, what colorway is this? This colorway is called Elmore City Dance. And it's like a pink, purple marl yarn. And I think I got it from a mystery bag from Lion Brand at one point. But I am just going to put it on the bed, and the cats will lay on it. And they're very particular. If we don't have a folded blanket on the bed for them to lay on, they will give us cat ears. If you guys are familiar with cats, and you know how they like kind of bend their ears back when they're irritated? My husband and I call that giving us cat ears. So that is what I meant by that. This took all of like an hour and a half to make, and it's soft, and it's basically like a cat mat. I enjoyed it. It was what I needed for that time frame, because I'm going to show you next my sock arms cardigan, and you will see why I didn't work on that and I worked on this instead. So, ooh, it's stretchy too. Whenever I started this is super bulky, right? So I started this with a crochet hook of 5. I quickly realized my mistake and went to a 6, a 6.5, and then I'm like, okay, and I grabbed out, what did I end up with? I ended up with an 8. So I am a very easygoing crocheter. I just grabbed a new hook and started on the next. on the next stitch with that hook. So I wasn't going to take it out just because, sorry, I had to reach without falling. I wasn't going to take it out just because I needed a newer hook. So let's talk about my sock arm cardigan. Now, this is a fingering weight cardigan. This pattern is from Stephanie Lotven, and it is from the book Knit Happy with Self-Striping Yarn, and I am a huge fan of this book. I sing this book's praises to everybody. I think that what appeals to me most about this book is that it is a bunch of patterns that use bright, self-striping yarn in like really unique and interesting ways. So one of those ways is the sock arms cardigan. Now, I love the original design of this book, but I'm altering it completely. Not completely. I'm altering the sleeves completely. So my idea is I am working the body up just like I'm supposed to be, except the ribbing and the button band, but we'll get to that in a second. So this is what I have right now for my body. And I am just now starting on my ribbing right there. I have 2 rows of the ribbing, and this is why I put it down last night and didn't want to work on it, because it's 1x1 twisted ribbing, which I love the way it looks. I love the way twisted ribbing works. I dislike working it, especially because I want the twisted ribbing on this to be about 2.5, 3 inches. I really love the way long ribbing works, and I want to have long ribbing for the bottom button, the bottom ribbing. I'm thinking that I would also like it for the sleeves, but I have to see how the sleeves work up first. The other kind of issue, now these are satin sleeves, and I'll talk about what I'm doing for them in a second, but the other issue that I have is right here. So I've got some decisions to make. So this is a cardigan, and the pattern has you work kind of a slim ribbing right here and a slim ribbing down there, but a slim button band to use buttons. Now, I don't want to use buttons. I really want to put a zipper in this cardigan. That means that I need to think of what I want to do for this part of it. Now, I would like to add a little bit of width here. Otherwise, I would just do an I-cord bind off, an I-cord edging, and then put a zipper right behind it, kind of like what I did for my Radvent. But I want to add some width because I wanted it to be a little bit bigger. I mean, I don't have to add the width. Not adding the width would be fine, but I think I would like it if it was a little bit more oversized than it is. But I guess we'll see. My question to you guys is this. Have you ever added a zipper to a cardigan before, a knit cardigan? And the second question is, what did you do with the edging up front? Did you use ribbing? I was looking on Google Shopping, and I was basically looking on Google Images, and I was looking for knitted cardigans with zippers. And I'm trying to see what other people do in cases of adding like a band there. A lot of them were cabled cardigans, and they had like thin strips, maybe even cables right there, so that the edging wouldn't roll, but they didn't have exactly ribbing. But I did see a couple that had ribbing, say the ribbing would be about this thick. So the two sides of the ribbing were like this, and where they met together, there would be a zipper. And I think that would be okay. I don't know. Do you guys know of any knit patterns that have something like this? I feel like I've seen plenty of patterns that have maybe I-cord edging where the zippers meet, but not so many that have ribbing. So maybe even, and I did this with the Montrose cardigan, but I didn't use a zipper, the double knit button band, which I thought looked really nice, but I don't know. Let's see. So I have this right here. I mean, I don't know. I think it really would look better with ribbing. That's kind of my conundrum here. Plus it's very rolly. So I've got to do something about that, and I don't think that just an I-cord edge would be enough to stop it from rolling. And ribbing and then I-cord edge would be weird. The things that run through my head sometimes. Okay, this is like a designing session here. So back to the sleeves. For the sleeves, I am going to pick up the sleeves on both sides and work the sleeve caps. This is what am I trying to say? This is a satin sleeve, so you pick up the sleeves and then you're going to be working the sleeve caps, and eventually you will be working in the round on the sleeves. And once I work in the round for the sleeves, I am going to incorporate a colorwork sock pattern on them. And I've done a good portion of the colorwork sock pattern as kind of a test a couple of years ago, and it worked pretty well. It will probably be one of those things, this sweater in general will probably be one of those things where I'm just gonna have to try things, rip them out, try something else, and etc., etc. So I'm glad that you guys are here along for the journey. Let me try to get this back all together. But yeah, my next goal for this is to get 2.5 to 3 inches of twisted ribbing on this, so I can start thinking about, either the band right here of some sort or the sleeves. I would like to get the sleeves picked up, but I also feel, I don't know how I feel. Part of me says I need to pick up the sleeves and at least work them down to where I'm going to be working in the round instead of short rows on both sides. So that way I have the way the sweater is going to fit before I start worrying about kind of the neck and the band. We will see. It's a learning process. Knitting is most definitely a learning process. The one thing I have learned from knitting that I can repeat consistently is that knitting is a lifelong learning process. So, okay, let me see if I can even pick this up without falling out of my chair here. Okay, this is my final kind of object here, and this is probably the most disappointing. And I say disappointing because I haven't gotten very much on it. I have been struggling this week. This is so heavy, by the way, because I have about 4 stitch dictionaries in it of colorwork charts. So this is my kiddo's Christmas sweater, and I Haven't worked on it much. Hang on a second, I'm trying to kind of rearrange everything. But I did put the neck stitches on a cord because I wanted to see, I wanted to be able to look at it without the rolling, and I wanted to see how the circular yoke was. Do you know how sometimes in circular yoke patterns, because you're picking up at such a fast rate, it's kind of a little wobbly. So I wanted to make sure that that wasn't happening. And this is what I have. Now I am using, let's see, this is a heart chart, and I believe it's either from the Knitovations book or the Doodle Dictionary. I believe those two are from the Doodle Dictionary. Now this is a parakeet. It doesn't look like a parakeet yet, but it is a parakeet from the Cat Doodle deck. Now, there's no way I'm going to remember to be able to tell you what each of these color work charts came from as I work down this pullover. It's going to be a circular yoke pullover, and it's going to be all over color work. Now, the yarn that I am using is fiber optic yarn, and it's their cashmere base. We have gray, and then we have, for the contrasting colors, I have a mini set that's wound together. And let me see if I can show you. So we wound them all together. So I've got like the lightest colors to the darkest colors on the inside. And that's just exactly how I'm going to use it. I will use every little bit of it and then just kind of work through it. I wonder if that's coming up. I wonder if that's coming up on the, I hope it is. So if you hear that, it is a cardinal call, and we love it. That is why we call the cardinal family that lives here Mr. and Mrs. Peeps, because it basically sounds like they're peeping. So if you've never heard a cardinal before, if that came up on video, that's how they sound, or at least one of their calls. So I'm hoping that I get more on this next week, and I should, especially once I get past the ribbing on the sock arms cardigan. Then I can kind of alternate back and forth between these two. So one thing that two things that aren't making an appearance this week is the Corbis that I have been working on by Natasha Hornsby, and the other cardigan that I am doing, Brayton. And those two are not making an appearance because the Brayton needed to be blacked and soaked before I continue it. That happened, and it did not grow that much, which concerns me. It does concern me. So it didn't grow that much, but I feel like it's at a good length. So the pattern says that you should pick up the arms when you're at 12.5 inches. The pattern is cropped on the woman that is wearing it, but I'm very short. So I feel like it will probably be okay. And even if it's not, it's still coming down to, it's at a pretty good length for me. So I feel like even if it doesn't grow, it will be okay. But we blocked it, we laid it up, and I just didn't get a chance to work on it. I was apparently too busy looking in my yarn stash and knitting up random cat pets. So, okay, I promised you guys that I was going to talk about two knitting and crocheting, and hey, it's knitting, crocheting, machine knitting, and what was the other one? Spinning. So the first event that I want to talk about is like encompasses all four of those. So I actually printed something out because I am a big fan of this, and I think I've done it since 2023, but don't quote me on that. I might have done it before then. So this is called the Pigskin Party, and I actually printed this out, and I am going to read it to you because obviously that's way too small for you to read. So I don't know why I'm showing you the picture. It says the Pigskin Party 25, hosted by Jennifer Lassonde. Work on your favorite fiber craft from September 4th, 2025 until February 9th, 2026. For each project you finish, you'll score touchdowns and field goals, or for safeties for projects between 50 to 99 yards. For every 100 points, you earn one entry toward the grand prize drawings. You can also increase your score by using products from our awesome sponsors or meeting other challenges. This make-along is what you make it. Want to rack up points? Beat all challenges and be entered to win in every contest? Do it. Want something laid back, a place to chat with your friends, share your projects? Do it. So I wanted to tell you guys about that because I think it's a lot of fun. I put up the QR code, which is actually where I got this text from. So it's basically a landing page for the Pigskin Party 2025, and it will tell you all about it. So in order to participate, you need to register, and then I believe you get put onto teams, and it's based around football. You don't have to like football. You can just like to knit or crochet or machine knit or spin. So it's really all inclusive for the fiber arch. You can kind of just make it be whatever you want it to be. And I really do like it, and I think that it's fun. It's kind of one of those fun team things that I like doing throughout the fall. So the next fall event is Joji Locatelli's Fall Knit Along. Now, I've participated in this quite a bit throughout the years, and the way that it works is that I believe from August 15th to August 30th, you can go to the sign up form, and I put up a QR code which will lead you to basically an FAQ and a link to the registration form. So the way that it works is you pick some Joji Locatelli patterns that you might work, you might not work up, but if there's even a chance that you could make this pattern between September 1st and November 30th, which is how long the knit along runs, then I would go ahead and sign up for it, because in order to participate, you have to sign up for the pattern that you want to make. So I actually went through today and picked out some patterns, and I'm going to tell you about them that I may or may not work up. So let's see. I am going to go through these pretty fast because I believe I've made some of these before. So the first one is odd stripes, and I've most definitely talked about and made this because I love this hat pattern. This is just a really cute hat pattern, and I love making it. It is very simple. It's, I believe, DK. Yeah, no, it's worsted. I've made it in DK though because I've used Shepsha's Scrumptious before. So it is just a simple knit and purl hat. Now, the second one that I signed up for, and I'm actually not showing you all of them because I'm trying not to show you the ones that I've shown you before previously. This is called Let Your Heart Unwind. And I picked this one because I want to make a one skein shawl. and I thought that this one was pretty. And I only want to make one skein shawl, but I'm not sure which one I want to make. So you will see my conundrum in a second. This is fingering weight, and it's a 1 skein shawl. I thought that it was very pretty. And I also like this one. This is called the Storm Shawl. And this is also a very pretty one. So I don't believe I've shown you guys these before, but this is a fingering weight shawl as well, and it's a 1 skein. So I'm hoping that I can manage to make one of these. I think I like the Storm Shawl the best out of the 3 I'm going to show you, but I'm not sure. I like this one as well. It's called the Lone Skein Shawl. This is light fingering, and it's just a 1 skein shawl. And I thought that this one was cute too. It's really going to depend on what I feel like knitting whenever I get to the point where I want to make it. So that is why I registered for all 3 of these. I'm not going to make all 3 of them unless a knitting fairy comes and finishes my Christmas sweaters, but I might be able to make one of them, or at least start on one of them. Now, the other ones that I picked were hats. I found this Change Your Mind beanie, and I thought that it was cute. And you know how I love making hats, so that is basically why I signed up for this. Will I be able to make it? I don't know. But if potentially I feel like casting on a hat, then I have this as an option, and it counts towards a knit along. It is made with fingering weight yarn, and it's a very pretty lace pattern. You know, this is interesting. It says the pattern works for a basic ribbed beanie too. If you want, just keep working the ribbing until you reach the crown section. The lace portion is entirely optional, so you can change your mind like I did. So that's pretty cool. Okay, that is what I signed up for. And I know that in my mind, I'm hoping I can get an odd stripes done and a 1 skein shawl. So we'll have to see how that goes and progresses as the fall kind of goes through and the Christmas knitting gets a little bit more frantic, as it's already almost September. I can't believe that. My kids are in the process of starting school. So here in the States, we kind of go back to school the end of August to the beginning of September. And I am taking that back right away, because what I meant to say is here in Michigan, we go back kind of the end of August to the beginning of September, because I know that other places in the States they kind of juggle the starting time based on like their climate and things like that. So anyways, I can't believe it's happening already. So I wanted to talk about at least 2 patterns, and I wanted to show them to you and kind of give you where I heard them from and kind of why I wanted to talk about them. So the first one is this. Now this is called the Retro Day-Glo Scarf. And I had originally heard about this when I went to the Jimmy Beans virtual retreat, and I can't remember what month that was, but it was a little bit ago. It was before Jimmy Beans got purchased by the private equity firm. And whenever I went to some of the classes, one of the classes was basically listening to one of the ladies from Cascade Yarn talk about some of the patterns that they had, and she mentioned this one. Now, this pattern has kind of stuck in my head since then. Now, this is made with Cascade Yarn Heritage, and it's fingering weight. And the gauge is 30 stitches, 4 inches in stockinette stitch. So, and you know what? The reason, because there's always a reason I pick a pattern. And the reason I wanted to talk about this pattern is the word right here, Day-Glo. So, Cascade Yarn has neon colors. And the neon colors are beautifully displayed in this pattern. Now, I believe the original pattern has yellow, orange, and green as the neon colors. But I keep thinking in my head, and I've been thinking this since the retreat, I would love to make this scarf in yellow, pink, because they have the highlighter pink. So yellow, pink, and green. And then the black that the sample is. So I obviously have not bought the yarn for this yet, because all I say in the back of my head is, Mandy, you have like all this stuff you want to knit, and you actually have the yarn for that. So stop daydreaming about stuff until you finish some of the other projects. So in order to stop daydreaming about this, I'm sharing it with you instead. So that is why I picked that pattern. Now this is a different kind of pattern here. This is a colorwork mitt pattern. And I really thought that these colorwork mitts were adorable. This is fingering weight yarn. And the reason I wanted to show this is because this is free. So, you know me, I am a big proponent of both paid and free patterns. There's spots for both of them in the world. And this chart is just so pretty. Now, I'm pretty sure, obviously I can't tell you right offhand, but I'm pretty sure that the sample is gray and like a dark blue. The reason I can't tell you offhand is because my printer prints only in black and white. So it says it's one size, which I think is fair. It's the one size, the woman's medium. Now, because of kind of the, what am I trying to say? Because of, you know, it's a mitt pattern. I'm sure that if you adjusted with yarn weights and needle sizes, you could probably eke out a little bit of room on one side or the other side, depending on how you want it to fit. It says, great for small amounts of fingering weight wool. All you need for Star Power mitts is 70 yards of the main color and 74 yards of the contrasting color. There are 3 charts in this pattern: the front of the mitt, the palm of the mitt, and the thumb gusset. Okay, next we have the Meadowland Baby Afghan. And I believe I saw this on Lion Brand's site, and I just thought it was cute. I know that a lot of people are big fans of making baby blankets and making these blankets bigger for other uses. So I wanted to share this one. It's in DK weight yarn, but obviously it's a blanket, right? So this pattern is available for free. It says the square garter stitch Afghan is made from 4 triangles that you join as you go while alternating 2 different colors of Lion Brand's mandala. Only one seam joins the first and the last triangle. Fringe is created by picking up stitches around the Afghan once the center is complete. I love the idea of alternating 2 different colors of kind of like a self-striping yarn or a color changing yarn. How's that? I think that's a little bit more of how what I'd use to describe mandala. Okay, so for this design, I don't even have to tell you why I picked it. because you're gonna know as soon as I show you. It is called Flat Cat, and it is by Amy Herring. So it says it uses worsted weight yarn, and it's 18 stitches, 26 rows is 4 inches. And there's a small, medium, large, or extra large. But I gotta show you guys this. It says it's available for free, and there's a paid version for $3.50. But look at how cute this is. This is a flat cat that you can use to embroider different things on. And it's so cute. Look at the little toadstool. You could embroider anything you want. And I love that. That's a beautiful flower. So all I'm thinking is, look at the flowers. All I'm thinking is you could take this flat cat and embroider a cat face on it as well. But some of these are so cute. I can't embroider at all. I can't do it. And I'm sure I could if I sat down and tried, but what I'm trying to express to you is that I haven't sat down and tried. So as of now, it's mystifying to me, but I very much appreciate it. Look at how pretty those flowers are. And what a cute idea to take like a flat project of a well-known animal, cat, and then embroider different like pictures on it. So it says you will hold 2 strands of lace weight along with 1 strand of worsted weight for this project. It says gauge is not crucial for this project, and it uses Judy's Magic Cast On, which uses the magic loop technique to begin seamlessly and is written continuing the magic loop method. So that's useful to know because maybe you don't use the magic loop method and you kind of have to take that into account. Okay, I'm going to show you guys one more. I think one more. Let me see. What else do I have? Nope, one more. So this is called Makosh. And I thought that this was a really cool hat because I am into color work right now, if you couldn't tell. And that is why I think it's really cool, because you knit the brim extra long on this and then kind of fold it in on itself, which is important, I think, if you're using, say you're knitting for a kiddo and you're using extra woolly wool for the color work part. Now, once you knit the hat itself and you're done with the color work, well, I guess you're gonna be working this from, it's worked in the round on circular and double pointed needles. So basically reverse what I just said. You can cast on with a super soft yarn and knit that extra long part. And then as soon as you get to the hat, to the part where it matters, you can change to your woolly wool and then just knit the hat. So the reason this kind of stuck out to me is because I remember getting some woolly wool from an actual farm in Michigan, and I would make hats for my kids, and this was when they were a little bit younger. So this might not be the case now, but when they were a little bit younger, and they would always say, you know, they love the hats, but it was kind of scratchy right here. So that's why I thought that this was kind of a cool idea. It gives you the opportunity to use a softer yarn and kind of fold it in on itself. And this is, of course, something that you could do with a different type of hat. I mean, any color work hat, right? I really thought that this pattern was pretty, and it's done with sport weight yarn, and if you are interested in using kind of a woolier wool for little kids, it might be worth looking at that. So, okay, I'm done with the patterns for now. I have no more knitting or crocheting or crafting content to talk to you guys about. So if you are headed out I thank you so much for joining, and if you could give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. For those of you that are sticking around, I am going to spend 5 minutes talking about life. So this week, oh my gosh, has just been awful, pain-wise. So yuck. We're not going to dwell on it. We are just going to say that is why I did not have very much knitting content this week. And I'm glad that it's over, and I hope that onward and upward from here. Okay, so I have read a couple of different books. The book that I am reading right now is on the screen, and it's called Good Girls Lie, and it is by J.T. Ellison, and I've never read the author before. At least I don't think I have. And it's been a pretty good book so far. It is about... The reason that I picked it was because it was the book cover had basically said that it's in the same vein as like Mary Kubica and Frida McFadden and things like that. So it's a thriller. It is about a private school for very privileged girls, and you're basically following this privileged girl who came from London, and you're starting to uncover that things aren't really like what they seem at all. So that is what I've been reading. Another one that I've been reading is, oh, this was a good book. So I've never read this author before either, but I'm going to put the information for this book on the screen. And it is called Everybody is Lying to You. And you start off, who starts off? What character starts off? Let me think, hang on. Okay, so you start off in the point of view of a character that is used to be a newspaper journalist. So she says that she had this friend in college, and the friend just completely broke off their friendship. And this friend who broke off the friendship with her is now like an Instagram influencer in like the West. I'm saying the West because I don't think they really say. They kind of imply that it was like the Pacific West. So like California, one of these states right here. Gosh, I'm horrible. I'm horrible at geography, and I live here. So don't take my word for it. Read the book. So it's one of the mom influencers from this part of the country. And anyways, you get to know this influencer, and you realize that like everything that she presents to everybody is a lie, and her husband ends up it's really good. Really, really good. I couldn't stop reading it because it was like watching a slow-moving train wreck. So if you are interested in like a thriller where it takes like aim at influencing and society and how we hold these people that present their lives to us on like a pedestal, and we want them to be perfect without being too perfect, and we want them to be able to do all these things, but they can't really do all these things because, you know, nobody can do all these things. So like they have to hire nannies, but you can't see the nannies, and like they have to go to these conferences, but if they post while they're at the conferences, then people are like, well, where are your kids? You guys, I highly recommend the book. Okay, guys, I think that's it. That's pretty much the only books that I've read or are reading that are worth mentioning. So, if you could, please leave a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. And if you are interested in entering next week's digital prize pattern giveaway, just leave a comment down below. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye.